Hello, Waswere here, back with another video, and today we are doing another simulation. This time I thought I would take a trip over to the Dagannoth Kings with the Rex Matrix finally coming out on Monday, and just highlight this boss as I felt it was a topical thing to do. Much like the Barrows video, this is going to be a simulation of 10 million kills at the Kings. Because there are 3 of them, that means there's about 3.3 million kills for each of the 3 Kings. Together, you get 10 million. I heard you last time, I saw the analytics, and almost all of you skipped through the portion where I showed the code and went over it. A little bit to blame on my part because I forgot just how blind it can be when it's a white background like that, especially after the transition from the dark of Barrows. With that in mind, I'm going to upload a second unlisted video that is going to be me stepping through the code I wrote. Link to it will be in the description. It's not going to be as highly edited as my main video, so it's really just for the people that want to see the code and maybe learn something. Now there is one thing I do want to do, and that's talk about the logic. The DKs are really simple to simulate as there are little factors and it's basically just kill and pick the loot. So a loot process would go kill Supreme, as that's the one that you kill first, get the loot, add 1 KC to your DK's counter. Then you'd kill Rex, as that's the next one in the rotation, get the loot from Rex and add 1 KC. Kill Prime, get the loot from Prime, and then at that point check to see if the log was done. And also add 1 KC. If the log was done, then it moved to the next one, reset all the drops back down to 0, and did this all the way until 10 million kills had been done. With that out of the way, let's get into the fun part, the numbers. The Dagannoth Kings log was completed 1838 times over the 10 million kills. The total loot was 546 bill, which relates to 54.6k per kill. Not too bad. The 5 largest stacks in terms of value were Berserker's Ring with 25.8k of them at 7.9 mil each. I checked that in the GE, didn't use the GE value, just so it would be a more accurate number, and that was 205.8 bill. At second is the Dagannoth Bones, which you can get noted and automatically placed in your inventory, so it should be 0 effort. With 19.3 mil bones, they can be sold for 96.4 bill. Dragon Hatchets at 78k of them for 86.1 bill in third, and then the Seer's Ring in fourth with 25.9k of them for 33.6 bill. The fifth one is a little bit of a surprise, as I was expecting another unique in here, but bowstrings actually get more money than any of the other uniques, clocking in at 50 mil total of them for 20.6 bill. Next up on our docket is to look at the luckiest log. It's funny, I saw this on Twitter last night and I'd already finished the coding, was getting ready to write the script for this video, and I got sent this tweet where someone completed the log at 1138 KC, which is pretty insane. There were 3 logs in our 10 million kills that got under his 1138 KC, and they are 1023 twice and then 969 once. So let's look at the 969 KC one. Unfortunately, I didn't track what item finished the collection log, so I'm unsure if it was one of the pets at the end or the lowly Berserker Ring. It is a little unfortunate that this player didn't get lucky on Berserker Rings, as in their KC they should have had about 2.5, so you could say 2 or 3. But seeing as they got all 3 pets in under 1k KC, I'm not going to lose too much sleep. Despite that, the overall GP was 41.7 mil, and if you assume an hourly kill rate of 198, which equates to 66 rotations of the brothers, and that was about what I was getting when I went for log, you end up with 8.5 mil per hour still. So this place can be super profitable even without great Berserker Ring luck. In fact, this was the log with the least amount of GP in drops on top of being the lowest KC to get the log. That makes sense because you're doing less kills, so you get less GP overall, but there was some fluctuations. In terms of the commons, I assumed that anything worth 3k or more as an alch was alched, coin drops were picked up, and any expensive commons like the superset potions were noted with magic notepaper. Beyond that, the only noted drops like Dagannoth Bones, Death Runes, Water Tallies, and Bowstrings were counted in the GP. So something like a Batwing Shield, which has a low alch value and isn't expensive enough to notepaper, I just ditched and assumed I wouldn't pick it up. I would be super jealous of anyone who can pull off a sub 1k KC DK slog. Bonus points if they get lucky on Berserker Rings. The natural progression leads us to looking at the average log next, and this seems way more like the logs I've seen, at least those that did the pets post-collection log. The average KC of 5,444 sounds a lot, but with how quickly you kill them, it's only about 25 to 30 hours worth of killing them. At an hour a day, you'd be done in a month. For the uniques, it adds up. There was about 14 of each of the rare drops, but there was always going to be some noise. We didn't get it perfectly balanced. If I had done 100 million or even a billion kills, there would have been less variance between them, but I don't want it to take years to simulate, and 10 million gets us a large enough number to get a large sample. The total loot was 295 mil. However, about 40% of that money does come from Berserker rings. So if you did this before the Matriarch announcement, you probably wouldn't have made nowhere near as much as you can now. I know I didn't. On top of that, the Dagannoth bones make up another 16% of the profit. So these two stacks alone make up over half the GP drop. So if you want to be really lazy and only pick up the uniques and the Dagannoth bones, you can do that and probably still make a high GP per hour. But if you're going to be picking up all the noted items and alching those items, you're going to end up with 10.7 mil per hour profit. Now it's time to look at the maximum kill count, and we got 13,341. Just insane. I wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy. I do have one friend that took about 11,000 kills to complete the log, and he would have placed about 30th on this list of 1838. So if you're out there, you know you're about a 1 in 60 chance of going that dry. Sad to think about. The good news for this chap is that they got really lucky with the distribution of rings. Of the 126 rings that were dropped, 38 of them were Berserkers instead of the expected 31.5 rings each. But I really don't think that extra RNG makes up for how long the last pet took. Another cool, interesting tidbit is that if the player were to use all the Dagannoth bones that they got on a gilded altar, they would get 11.2 million prayer experience, basically all of 99 prayer. The total loot was 733 mil, and with this taking 67 long hours to complete, we are left with 10.8 mil GP per hour. Not too shabby for a boss released over 15 years ago. For those of you that have completed this collection log, where did you fall? Me personally, I was pretty lucky completing the pets at under 3,000 KC, though I had to go back to get all the unique items, and that took me about another 1,000 KC to do. But all things considered, I'm happy that I'm not part of the 10k plus gang. For the next boss, I want it to be something where there are multiple decisions you have to make. A good example of this is Legios. There are two main ways that you can grind out the collection log. First is you do one pet at a time, so I'd kill Primus until I get the Primus pet, and then I'd be left with like 15 or so Primus signets, and then you move on to the next one. Then once you have all of the pets and the logs, you filter back and finish all of the excess bows, and then sell all the bows at the end. Or you can just do one bow at a time, and when you complete the log, you only have that bow to finish. Those sorts of decisions are fun, and we as a community can learn what the actual quote-unquote best way to do it is. So if you have any other decision-based bosses that would be great to simulate, leave a comment down below, and it can really help me with inspiration. If you liked the video, drop a like down below, and if you're liking the content I'm creating, consider subscribing. Past that, have a good day, and I'll catch you in the next one.